What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the Creatures and their 1983 album Feast, as well as a very vocal Luca, who looks a bit mischievous. Are you going to attack my feet? No? Thinking about it? Once again, shout out to Nicola for this journey, as well as Mark and many others who've been commenting along the way, and we're up to the penultimate tune on the album, which is a Strutting Rooster. Certainly gives you a visual and maybe even attitudinal sense. Of course, I imagine this to be on some level figurative and maybe representative of the behavior, of the appearance, of the attitude of some person. Of course, it could be not necessarily a person per se, but something personified. Either way, it does, again, give you a sense of the tone of whatever entity or process will be discussed or conveyed. And of course, it could be more about the image itself than any particular narrative or full scene being set. So I'll try to catch what I can. This is the Creatures. The tune is A Strutting Rooster, and it's from their 1983 album Feast. So another very hypnotic tune, cyclical, obviously very percussive driven, and not only were I think their hand drums, but maybe there was a snare in there, but I think also like a marimba, like xylophone percussive melodic element as well. Again, definitely very tribal, but it felt like in one way ritualistic, but also a bit frenetic and not improvisational is the wrong word, but like anything could happen. Like it wasn't all pre-planned and ritualistic, but there was a bit of, or again, reckless is the wrong word, but a bit of unpredictability, a bit of wild kinetic energy to it, and by the end it really felt like it was going off the rails a bit. And I enjoyed that moment maybe a minute or two before that, maybe like 3 minutes in, where it was, sort of smashing the snare, everything else kind of cut out, and then it all sort of kicked off again and began to cycle and repeat and hypnotize once again. And the vocals were similarly cyclical. It was almost like a round with Siouxsie's vocals. Like they were, layered, polyphonic, and it was like one line would start, another line would start behind it as the first one was already finishing. It was like like when you sing, like Row Row Your Boat or something, where like eventually there are people at different points in the melodic slash lyrical rhythm, so it has this again like cyclonic feel to it. So yeah, lyrically I didn't hear much specifically, and it sounded like a lot of it was like the same few words and phrases repeated, though again with like this dense layering because it was polyphonic and her voice was at different points in the lines as it went along. But I do think I heard fight. Was I mishearing that? And of course, a strutting rooster, like, unfortunately, sort of cockfighting, as it's often called, is a pastime for, if we're calling, like, animal cruelty a pastime. But it feels like maybe there was something there, like, the fighting, the, intensity, the frenetic unpredictability of it. But I think maybe I'm extrapolating into that, and I don't even know if the word was fight, but it seemed like there was a word that sounded like that coming back again and again. And a strutting rooster, a rooster that is victorious, or one that is the king of the hill in that regard. I thought there could have been relevance there, but it was very, again, entrancing and cyclonic and hypnotizing. So a very compelling and intense tune, even if I don't know what it's about. But I do enjoy Siouxsie's vocals. They just have that, dramatic, epic, and a bit wicked quality to them. I feel like that's kind of, I've heard her sing in different ways, but I feel like that's kind of her main lane, is like this dramatic and a bit dangerous sounding vocal performance, and I think that was very much the case here. So yeah, another really interesting tune. One more to go to finish the album, so when we come back next time we will hear Flesh, which is a single word title, but obviously that's a very vivid word. We'll talk more about it next time. From Luca and I, let me know what you think, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.